This week on Next Gen NYC.
I didn't say to you, Georgia. I explained everything. Shai's the one that said something. Yeah, laugh, bitch, because you're dumb.
But if you say something out of pocket and you come back with, I shouldn't have said that, it's still...
Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to you. We're going to be recapping the new episode of Next Gen NYC, Season 1, Episode 7. Let's get right into it. Alright, so we pick up at this birthday dinner, Brooks's birthday dinner. Georgia was very upset because when they all came into this dinner, everyone was kind of in the same page in regards to Charlie. None of them had anything but negative things to say about the way he's either treated them or talked to them or just a lot of things. So, to her surprise, when they're here at the birthday dinner and she looks across the table and hears Ariana say, "Charlie, look," to take a picture. And I love Ariana, but I think it's understandable to be like, Georgia to be like, what the hell? So Ariana overhears Georgia whispering to Riley, like, why is she taking pictures over there? I thought she was mad at him. And everyone's mad. Georgia and Ariana are going at it. Hudson gets in there. Gia is, putting her 2 cents as always, being super annoying, and it's just craziness erupts after that. And that's all we see, though. We don't see how this ends, because then they sort of zoom into Brooks's mind, hearing Meredith Marks's voice saying, disengage. So then they just cut to the next morning. So everybody's waking up. It's a new day. Emira and Brooks are looking for sharks nearby in the shore. I didn't know there was some thing that could tell you where sharks were, but I guess they can. Chloe left early that morning. So did Georgia's boyfriend, Omar. Georgia actually ended up getting a hotel room in the casino where they were having dinner at. Riley FaceTimes Georgia just to check up on her. Riley she definitely had Georgia's back last night because she agreed with everything Georgia was saying. And she feels like everyone, especially Gia, were being very unreasonable to be mad at Georgia for being mad at Charlie. Riley says, I love seeing for the first time that you have a backbone. I hope she took that as a compliment. Riley does think, though, that Georgia's man should have stood up a little bit more for her, and Georgia thinks this too. I think this too. I also do think, though, that it is easier said than done. They are still getting to know each other, so I get why he doesn't want to. And Omar is getting to know Georgia. He doesn't even know all of these people. So I could see why maybe he would be a little reluctant to speak up. But at the same time, that is the girl that you're dating. So yeah. Ariana, we see her wake up and she tells Hudson that she will talk to Georgia later because she has had time to think about last night and she thinks that maybe she came across as like a mean girl and she doesn't want Georgia to think that, so she wants to definitely apologize. Then they all reconvene in the kitchen. Brooks packed a fly swatter, which actually came in handy quite a bit. So after the dinner, here in the kitchen, they're talking about what happened after the dinner. They were up late, like very, very late. And apparently Riley had a little too much to drink. She was a little drunk to the point where she doesn't remember some stuff that happened, like eating a cake. But they were all, they all had stuff. They were all drinking and they drink a lot. I don't get why they drink so much, all of them. Like, I get it, y'all are young, but it's too much. So, like I said, because they cut what happened at the dinner last night, we didn't get to see how it all kind of resolved, but they were showing some flash sides of Charlie having some conversations with Riley and Hudson, and with those conversations that he had, he definitely feels more comfortable with the group today. So Ava, we see her real quick getting her nails done. I just kept thinking, why is Ava really even on this show? I mean, she's barely been in it. She's not going to many of the cast events. And I keep seeing reports about her getting evicted. Girl, you need to be in as many scenes as you possibly can to get that money. Get that screen time. Because you need the money. Alright, but back to the Jersey Shore. The group goes to the bay. The Jersey Shore looks... It does look fun. I would definitely go with my friends. I like the vibe. They get on some boats and then they're doing some stuff in the water. Everyone's there except Riley. Riley goes to the hotel with Georgia. They want to go to the beach. As I said earlier, Omar left to go back to work, but they asked Georgia in her confessional, what does he do for a living? Like, what is his job? And Georgia can't really answer that. Something about crypto and trading. Listen, if there's anything that we've learned from these reality TV shows is that when we can't get a straight answer from people about what they do for a living, that's a red flag right there. Anywho, they ordered some drinks and they're chilling. Georgia says that she definitely wants to go back, but like, what is the sentiment with everyone? Riley's like, yeah, well, they're good. But back over there with the group, Emira tells them that, remember that she ordered like the whole menu of Red Robin through Uber? Well, Georgia had asked, did the Ozempic wear off? Like, why'd you order all this food? For Emira, that's one of the worst things to say. I think it was shady. I don't think it was like that bad. But Emira says that because of how she's had like body issues and things like that, like I guess that's really a sensitive subject for her. So I get that. There was a point in the boat also where Charlie asks Gia's boyfriend how old he is. He says he's 23. He's like, how about you? And Charlie's like 29. And Gia's boyfriend is like, shouldn't you be having like a kid by now? But listen, Charlie doesn't even know what he wants to do with his own life. He definitely is not ready for no kid. So eventually Riley and Georgia make their way back to meet everyone. Riley accidentally drops her phone. It bounces on top of something that's on top of the water, but from there it then goes into the water. I would die if that happened to my phone. So Riley is like, I will pay $1,000 if someone can get my phone. And Charlie, you didn't have to tell him twice. He jumped right into the water, which clearly shows us he needs the damn money, okay? Because no wonder he can't pay up when people lend him money, because he was in there real quick. Georgia goes in as well, and it's kind of funny. They're all kind of joking. But meanwhile, Gia is watching this, and she's, like, annoyed for some reason. She's like, oh, this is so embarrassing. Just get a new one. Riley thankfully has 2 phones anyway, so it's not like she completely lost her phone. Then some of the girls do the obstacle things that are on top of the water. It looks super fun, like you have to run and all this stuff. Riley kept slipping, so yeah, they definitely had fun. So as all of this is happening, Charlie keeps texting Ava, and we see her with her dad at this empty restaurant place. So she keeps talking about, he says to her, like, where are your friends at? And she keeps on saying this whole thing about, I was invited to this Dolce & Gabbana event. I keep hearing her say that, but every time we see her, she's not at the event. Like, what? You clearly could have gone, girl. You just didn't want to. So it's a bit later, and everyone is getting ready for dinner. I love seeing Riley compliment Ariana. Charlie is FaceTiming Ava. Also, he seems to smoke like a weed joint every day, like when he wakes up, like later. That's kind of crazy. Like I'm not, listen, even though I am young, like I'm in the same age as these people. I'm 20, I just turned 22. I'm not into the drinking, and I'm not into the smoking. I don't do that. Do I understand some people do it? Of course. And do I think if they do it like maybe once in a while it's okay? I guess. But like when you're doing it every day, that's kind of crazy. So right before dinner, Ariana and Georgia do have a talk. Ariana says, I'm sorry if I came at you and attacked you. Georgia's like, yeah, listen, and I get that me doing the whispering, that was definitely not okay. I just got triggered and I got upset. They hear each other out. It was nice. It felt sincere, so they make up. Shai finally made it. He has a 9-to-5 a job, so he can't be free, all the time, but he finally made it. Charlie then calls Ava again when they're all at dinner to say hi, and everybody's like, where are you? And same thing, I have to go to an event. By the way, Emira was also invited to this, but she declined it. So they're having dinner. Georgia then has an announcement. She tells them about this bowling venue that she is going to buy to turn into a club. She was a little long-winded, though. She was talking about all the aspects of it and what she's planning to do and all this stuff. I will say also, you guys, they keep showing, like, when we have these dinners where, like, people are, like, either fighting or there's some drama, there's some tension, whatever the case may be. They keep showing these little like moments of like Brooks talking to himself, like glazing away and disengaging, and I mean, I guess they think it's funny. Maybe it was funny like the first time, but if he's not going to be participating in any of the scenes, he might not maybe he shouldn't come back for season 2. I mean, listen, you gotta put in a little something. But anyway, Riley then asks Georgia, who's financially backing this? And Georgia says, Omar. Emira then jumps in there and she says, I do have some advice for you. If the people at your club event, at the club venue, are eating, don't comment about what they're eating. And then Georgia's like, what do you mean? And Emira's like, yeah, yesterday that you mentioned Ozempic, which wasn't nice. I didn't like that at all. It was very offensive. And then Georgia's like, oh, okay, I'm sorry that I said that. I really do apologize. Emira says, apology accepted. Georgia's like, okay. So anyway, the food at my place is going to be like this, like that. And she just continues and continues and continues on. She's very passionate about this. Some of the people there thought it was rude that she kept going after what Emira said. But I mean, Emira did say apology accepted. So there's really no reason to just keep harping on it. Riley then says, Georgia, I think this is a terrible idea. Gia then says, Riley, don't be nasty. Riley's like, oh, okay, sorry, that delivery was so wrong. I'm sorry that I said that. And Ariana's like, you're fine. We all say dumb things. It's okay. Riley says, wait. What did I say that was dumb, though? And Ariana says, well, you did just say that her new business is a terrible idea. Riley's like, oh, okay, yeah, I shouldn't have said that. I am working on it. Gia then says, I think that when you're tipsy, you get a little rough. She says, I've seen you drunk and sober, and I see, like, when the switch happens. She's just going on and on. So Riley has to walk away. Shai goes after her, but Gia keeps saying at the table, she's been drinking all weekend. She gets very nasty. I really like that Shai. I like Shai and Riley's friendship. I think that they'd be a cute couple, but we just found out that Riley has a boyfriend now. So, but he, right here, Shai is comforting her and telling her how to go about it and just trying to calm her down, trying to help her. When they go back to the table, Riley, she was really being the bigger person, so she goes up to Gia and kind of hugs her and says, I'm sorry things got heated. Riley, that was way too nice of you. Gia doesn't deserve no hug. Anyway, they then bring out a birthday cake for Brooks and sing happy birthday. So then they go back into the house, and Riley is still very apologetic with Georgia. She's like, I'm sorry again that I said that. Shai then says, we need to get over this. Why have we been here talking about this for so long? This is literally one of the most privileged arguments. Georgia says, privilege? What does that have to do with anything? I've been working to get a venue like this for a very long time. Riley then says, yeah, but we have to admit that we all have some sort of privilege in some way. You are privileged because your boyfriend is paying for it. Opening a club at the age of 24 definitely means you have privilege. Georgia says, I've been working really hard for years. What are you talking about? Riley's like, I'm not saying that you haven't. Why are you coming at me? I'm not even the one who said it. I don't really even care. Georgia says, yeah, but now you're making it personally about me. So people are kind of listening from the hallway. Georgia says to one of them, Riley just said that the only reason I'm opening up a club is because I have privilege. Riley says, are you dumb? I didn't say that. I explained what Shai said. And then Georgia sort of like chuckles, and then Riley's like, yeah, laugh, bitch, because you're dumb. And then Georgia says, are you serious? Those are the same things that Charlie said to me. And then Riley's like, okay, yeah, sorry. Like, I'm sorry. She said that right away. But when she said this, Ariana walks into the kitchen and she says, Riley, I love you more than anything, but you can't just say something out of pocket and then right away just said, I shouldn't have said that. Like, you still said it, girl. Ariana then hugs Georgia, and Riley isn't happy about this at all. She's like, why is Ariana hugging Georgia? And that was the end of the episode. Listen, I do think that, let me start with this. Never liked Gia from the very beginning. A lot of people are Teresa fans, and they're talking about Teresa and Gia. Never liked Gia. Never liked Teresa either. wish to see Melissa's daughter rather than Gia, because Gia has this thing that, just like her mom, they think they can like tell people what's wrong with them, and like they think they are like, I've never seen it for Gia, never have, never will. When it comes to Georgia, I definitely think Shai was the one who started that argument with her and Riley, because yeah, I get what he's saying. It's a privileged argument to fight about a club, when like maybe what he was trying to say is that people are maybe out here dying, which is true. But at the same time, if that's the case, pretty much everything that everyone's been fighting about on this show this season is a quote-unquote privileged argument. Like, if that's where we're going to go. So I see that. I think that Georgia then had misplaced anger and took it out on Riley when I don't think she should have. Now, maybe Riley shouldn't have like tried to explain it for Shai. Maybe she should have just let him be on his own, because he's the one that said it. But I don't think Georgia should have gone as mad as she did. Now, when it comes to Ariana hugging Georgia, I can't be too mad at her. Y'all let me know what your opinions are. I can see both sides. But if I heard someone just be called a bitch, I'll probably defend that person. Not defend them, but probably be on that person side. I don't know. It's a mess, you guys. It's a mess. This show is too much drama. But you guys, let me know what your thoughts were about this episode. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all next time. Y'all have a great one. Bye.